I had previously recorded this video, but I deleted it. So we're going to re-record it, and I'm going to talk about a few things. And actually, to be fair, I could probably talk about one or two more things now that I didn't, but we have drinky drink. As usual, this has already been diluted, don't worry, I'm not just necking like pure juice. It's not like I've already put water in it. It was like down to there, so I filled it with water. Before some more comments go in. Anyway, we also have. I've been nomming my way through this, and to be fair, it's growing on me. You know, when I initially tried it, I was a bit. In all fairness, the mastic, or plain, I think it's called, is grim. It's not very nice. I don't like it at all. The berries taste a little bit like how your toilet smells when you put one of them discs in it. But the apple is a bit plain. But the mints are very nice, as in mint. The two versions of those are quite nice. I'm yet to open any of the strawberry or I haven't opened any strawberry, and there is a carbonated strawberry and non-carbonated strawberry. There is a watermelon flavour, which I think I'm going to go, and then this clove, which I'm quite keen to try clove. Clove smells like Alicante, which is a place in Spain. I stayed there as a kid. Yeah, I can smell the difference. So I'm quite excited to try that out because it smells like nostalgia to me. But I'm going to try the what's it called, watermelon for today. Put these back in here. Put one of them back in here. So I'm going to try this one. And hopefully I've tried my hardest this episode, or this video, that the audio should be much better for you guys. I can get really close. And whisper. Or I can come a little bit further back and soft speak a little bit. And the audio should be great. Because I don't often do the noise reduction feature in DaVinci Resolve because it makes my voice a little bit tinny. However, I did try it out on the Road to Glory episode that eventually went in the bin. And it actually surprised me and didn't sound very tinny. Maybe because the quality of the mics are a little bit better. It's picking up a lot more audio outside. And either that or it's something to do with the file, or the audio file that you get from the Zoom or these microphones, that can help distinguish between what is background audio and what isn't. Because I think with the Blue Yeti, the sort of background audio doesn't always transfer properly and it's not always distinguishable. Whereas with this, I think it works well. So I've got a bit of a dry mouth, so this might not help, but we have watermelon. Ooh. That's my new favourite. I'm not the biggest watermelon flavour advocate. I don't quite like it in sweets. The watermelon water that I think Volvic brought out, I wasn't a fan of that. But this, because it's more subtle, and all of these are a lot more subtle than normal chewing gum, I think it just works quite well. Anyway, getting into the video. I've got notifications. I've been popping on Twitter tonight because Manchester United and Tottenham played. What a game. Right. Just for a little bit of context, I did message Job about some of these transfer rumours. I wanted to get his opinions on the thing because he's a massive Man City fan. So, if anything's been heard about Man City, Job's probably heard about it. I have also today been out and recorded more football videos. I think it's fair to say we scored enough to get a decent video. I think I adopted the top bins, if I'm being honest. Right, the right hand top corner. Smashed it, boys. Absolutely smashed it. I was really happy with the way it turned out. I scored a numerous amount of goals. And I've been watching them back, I'm not going to lie to you. So, Adam, if you are watching this, you're probably not watching this. But if you are watching this, I can't wait for your edit, because from what I've seen so far, it's funny. It is funny. But anyway, so Manchester City, where do we start? They have an amazing attack, an amazing midfield. I would have said amazing defence, but there are a few issues, and Edison's an amazing keeper. So, based on that, where do we start? 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 Ooh, got a little burp. I'm getting comfortable. Defence. Now, they lost company at the end of last season. Or was it 2 seasons ago? I think it was the end of last season. I just think it was longer ago because of how long we've been in lockdown and whatnot. But anyway, you know, they've got the likes of Laporte, John Stones, Fernandinho has been dropping in and playing. Eric Garcia was due to be playing more games, but as we know, picked up that injury in the last half. Horrific injury. So, I feel like I've missed someone. Otamendi. There we go. So they do have players that can play. There is just a few players, i.e. Laporte and John Stones, that are a bit injury prone, and especially this season it's really been, what's the word? It's been vital that they were there and they weren't because they were injured. So there's been a bit of a question there. Second of all, the one position that I'd say Man City have never successfully fulfilled is left back. Now they brought in Benjamin Mendy. I want to whisper a little bit more, so let's bring you closer. Come here. They brought in Benjamin Mendy, but they didn't. He got injured pretty quickly, which was unfortunate. Let me turn the volume up so I can hear myself. There we go. Oh, that's better. Yeah, so they brought in Benjamin Mendy. He got injured. He is sort of returning to the team. He has been playing some great games when he has come on. But whenever I've watched Man City, I don't think he's ever been comfortable. Do you know what I mean? I don't know if that's just the way I've seen it. If you're Man City fans, let me know. I do like him. I just think that if there was one position on that pitch where I think they have a weak area, it'd be left back. You know, they brought back, what was his name? Angelino from Leipzig to try and fill in that role, and he never filled that role. So I think that's an area we need to look at. And one for maybe the future. I know Leroy Sané is not living up his contract and he might leave in the summer. He probably is leaving in the summer. However, so left wing maybe. You've got the likes of Sterling or Bernardo Silva or Mahrez, all capable wingers. Just which one do you play on the left, or do you go out and buy a left winger? And lastly, we need to discuss upon the point of Aguero might be leaving in the next year or two. Who's going to fill them boots? So let's start there. Personally, Gabriel Jesus fills them boots quite adequately, in my eyes. He's been doing a great job filling in when Aguero isn't available or needs a little bit of a rest. With Aguero, and I spoke to a few Man City fans to be fair, and they've agreed the fact that in the next couple of seasons Aguero will have gone. He won't be there for much longer. He's been a great player for the club. Might even retire at the club. But even though he's still doing amazingly well, and they can only hope that he continues, but the older he gets, the less likely he's going to be able to. I've got 3 more notifications of what's going on. Francis, he says, I'm gassed for this. Bro, check out the clip I posted. Everyone go check out the video I put on Twitter, because that's got an absolute screamer. I mean, I've scored some bangers. I mean, I had some really bad shots, but I did score some bangers as well. Anyway. That's besides the point. Yeah, I do think Aguero will be leaving in the next season or two. Maybe 2 to 3 seasons. Gabriel Jesus is going to be there to fill them boots, but they need an adequate secondary player, the same way that Jesus has been a great secondary player to Aguero, or even in some games where they've both played. If that's happened, I assume that's probably happened once or twice. They do need an adequate replacement, so it's more of a replacement for Jesus than Aguero, but you know what I mean. So who can they go for now? I did have a shout that Lautaro Martinez was coming in, and that's one that Job suggested, saying we have been linked with him for a while now, and it would make more sense to go for, an Argentinian striker that's basically very, very similar to Aguero. Got a bit of pace about him, quite stocky, quite thingy, he's quite clinical, he's quite strengthy. And he just sort of, if I was to think of Martinez going to any Premier League club, it probably would be Man City. I can't see him at Man United. I can't see him at Chelsea, because we've signed Werner now anyway. I can't see him at Spurs, because they've got Kane and Lucas that plays striker, Son can play striker. I can't see him at Arsenal. In fact, yeah, I can probably see him at Arsenal. I just don't think he suits Arsenal. I think he does suit Man City to the ground, so I think that's probably where they're going to go with that. And or just bring in another young, youthful player. And I ain't got a clue. So that's sort of that addressed. Let's move on to the left wing, left back sort of situation. Now, Job suggested to me that they've been linked with a few players that can play a number of roles. There is actually a guy, let me just get it up because I don't want to get this wrong. That was Youngsker, where is it? There we go. So, they've already signed a player, that's what I know. They've signed a guy called Jan Couto. He's a young Brazilian right back. Job says he's proper promising, and from what I've seen from his reports when I've looked on Transfer Market and a couple of clips of him, he looks solid. He looks like a really, really decent wing back. Now, whether they've signed him, he could just play right back for the team that he was playing for. When Man City sign him, they might want to try and transfer him to a left back. I mean, it's not any different. It just depends on if he prefers playing on the left or the right. He might adapt really well to playing on the left. And then that's a really promising left back coming into the squad. So that could be a great option. On the flip side of that, he could just be there to fill in the boots of Kyle Walker or Cancelo if they want to get rid of one of them and keep one of them for the next few seasons. I don't know. This chewing gum's great, by the way. But on the flip side of that, we need to look at left wings and left backs. So the people that we've sort of come to agreements on is on the left, someone like Ousmane Dembele or Kingsley Coman. Now, I do think the Bayern Munich links are going to be there for Pep to help bring players to the club. I do think players like Kingsley Coman would want to come to the Premier League. You've seen Kingsley Coman. I think he's just won another trophy with Bayern Munich. You've got the likes of he's already won it in the Serie A. He's already won the Bundesliga a few times. Maybe it's the perfect point in his career at the ripe age of 24 to make a great money move, knowing that Leroy Sané's gone. And if Leroy Sané goes to Bayern Munich, Coman might be thinking, am I going to get the playing time that I deserve? I've spent so long on the bench of many teams. Yes, I do get appearances, but I'm never like 100%. Man City where left wing's free, open season, it might be a great opportunity. The same with Ousmane Dembele. There's been a bit of speculation about him at Barcelona, where he can go, what he can do, and there's always been an air around him of uncertainty still. And I do think the one manager that will probably get the best out of him is probably Pep Guardiola. So, would that be a smart move for Dembele in terms of reaching a potential? Probably. So that's another good option. Now, whilst we're on this, I did ask for left backs. We didn't really get any, other than the likes of Alphonso Davies. He is insane. I think he's been the best left back of 2020. I think Robertson's been great. But Alphonso Davies just looks complete. And he's what? 19, 20. How old is he? He's 19 years old. He looks like a complete wing back already. When I initially saw him in the MLS, because there was a big compilation put out when he left the MLS and went to Bayern Munich of all his best bits, and I think he was playing a winger there. I think he played right wing a few times, left wing plenty of times. And attacking wise, he looks insane. He can dribble, he can push past people. He's got that extra bit of strength that you need. He can whip in a good ball. He can finish. Some of the strikes were insane. He can hit a ball nicely. So I thought, when I saw that, what does he offer Bayern Munich? And then we've seen the fact that defensively, he's good. He played against Chelsea, and I remember so many times where we were through on goal, and he somehow managed to sprint past the players that were already running forward, get in the way, and win the ball back. Which is exactly what you want in a fullback. But not only that, I think that he suits Man City's style of play, especially with fullbacks. He suits Liverpool's fullbacks, but they don't need fullbacks. He suits that. Get the ball at the feet. If I push forward, someone from the midfield is probably going to sit back a little bit. Fernandinho, CDM, Rodri. If I sprint forward, one of the centre backs will push wide, and one of the CDMs will drop in. If I get forward, that sort of style of play where the wing backs can go forward. We've seen it with Kyle Walker and Cancelo and Mendy. I think that, I don't think that, I know that. I think everyone knows that Alphonso Davies suits that sort of, how can I explain it, that sort of just position and that role really well. So I think it will probably cost a lot, not going to lie. Bayern Munich are probably not going to want to get rid of him, but I think he's probably their best option right now. I think with the likes of Tagliafico and Telles, the left backs that always seem to come up in conversation right now. That sort of, we discussed it in the Chelsea video, but hey, same thing. Now, the last position, like we said, is centre back. What can happen with that? And I hate to bring up a Pemecano again, but it's so obvious. He's just one of them players where his name's going to be thrown in. If he's on Chelsea's radar, he's also on Man City, Man United, Liverpool, Arsenal, Leicester, fucking Juventus' radar. He just is. And I think he'll do an excellent job at Man City. I think him and Laporte, that could be a thing. That could be a proper good link with Stones filling in if they go three in the back, or as a sub, or as if you've got to rest one of them. But there is one player I do want to mention. Now I think Job mentioned it, and I was a bit at first, but the more I looked into it, the more obvious it seemed. He ticks every box that I need to mention when it comes to a Man City centre-back. The first and foremost thing is we want a player that doesn't get injuries. Right? Doesn't get injuries. that's experienced. Experience gets a lot of game time. We want a player that's not old. We want him relatively. Sorry. We want him relatively young, but still with that level of experience. We want top leadership quality in a player. We want someone that can, sit back and go, right, you do your job, you do this. He's got his head in the game. And when Jake mentioned it, I just thought. But then, thinking about it, it just works. And that is Milan Skriniar from Inter Milan. Like, it just makes sense. He's 25 years old. Right? Let's go to his stats for you all. He's made 35 appearances this year. He made 38 the year before, so he's an experienced player. He's only 25 years old. It makes total sense. I had a look on Transfer Market. I'm just going to take another look now. He's only valued at £43 million, which, yeah, is a lot. He's probably going to be worth a lot more than that. Hey, he probably is. You're probably looking at the 50 to 55 million mark for a 25-year-old experienced centre-back. That's a decent bargain, if I'm being honest. He's been in the starting 11 96% of the time this season. He's played 33 games in total this season, and he's had 1 assist, I think. Yeah, he's had 1 assist. But he's a centre-back, you're not going to get assists. His transfer market's actually gone down. Like, over the past 2 years, it was set up at 54 million, and he's now gone down to 43. His contract runs out in 2023, so 3 years. It's not the worst thing in the world, is it? But the best thing that I saw about this, because I did a quick check, and I wanted to see how many injuries Skriniar had over the past, 4 to 5 seasons. Whereas, he's an established player getting a lot of game time. And do you know how many it said? Not big fat 0. He hasn't had a major injury. Stand bugs. Fucking come here, you gun. Oh, you're on the wall now, it's all good. Anyway, he's had no injuries. And I just think he's going to be great. He was Slovakia's best under-21 player of 2016, and he received the Peter Dubovsky Award. Not that that's worth anything. I just think he's going to be great, if I'm being honest. I think he just suits him, and as far as I'm aware, he hasn't agreed to go to any other club, otherwise it should come up. It just sort of works, and if I'm being honest, that's the sort of player that Man City need. Anyway, I think that's going to wrap up this video. I hope you guys have enjoyed this. I hope the... Oh, it's gone.